question number 1. There's actually 3 in this one. No, it's just 2. Sometimes there is.
I understand.
What is your reflective reaction when you might be able to be blamed for something? What is your reflexive reaction when you might be to blame for something?
Well, I don't think there's hasn't been a might be. I know what I did.
Did I do it?
Yeah. That sleepwalking gets me every time. Oh, really? Why is it only cupcakes? Whatever, dude. It's ice cream, by the way. No. No, the best, one of the best things that the Lord distributed into my mind and heart was admit, start again. Admit, start again. And I was the first one to write on myself, amazingly enough. And they say snitches get stitches. And so if the old Tony would be the new, like, dude, hey, you're thinking, you're believing in God and you're writing on yourself? Yeah. He pulled a Mr. T on him, know what I mean? But no, that was the best, easiest thing to admit, as opposed to repressing it, confessing it. And so if I would have repressed it, that pressure, the shame, the guilt. Now, I've done that consistently. And sometimes I just had to get it out. And the sad thing is, once the enemy in people, the enemy closest to me, had that ammunition, then as opposed to me being able to rise because I admitted it, I was in environments where that was another way. The enemy could punch me in the kidneys, punch me in the throat, and it was my own fault, and I admit that, but no, there's no but. So, I learned all I have to do is admit it to myself and to my loving Father. Get up, dust off, do not walk in condemnation, do not walk in frustration, do not beat myself up. And this last 3 years, that was my main inner dialogue. Nope, I'm not going to beat myself up. Nope, I'm not going to, over and over and over. So it was easy to admit, and that's where I say confessing it and not repressing it didn't cause pressure, for that explosion. So that was a blessing and final answer.
Thanks for going very deep and in depth with that. That was really good.
Thanks.
Think of a time when you've been truly honest with God. What did it look like?
It looked like nobody being around. It looked like not condemnation, but the conviction in me was so strong. Now it was the first time in a while that I hung my head for longer than normal. So in my way, on my time, let it all out. Broke down, got on my knees, and bawled in forgiveness. It went depression. All right, now, son, get up. Get up. So that was definitely a very impactful thing. And then the amazing thing is, it was like that activated other things. I knew you were going to do it, but I wanted to see how you were going to pass the test. You got the answer key to remain in me. Get up. Get up. So yeah, that is when I had to stick around longer, break down, really get on my knees, cry out, and cry out. No one around for me. And freedom. Pressure released, and I rose. Yes, indeed. Final answer.
Nice.
Thanks.
What is my reflexive reaction when I might be to blame for something? Well, for a long time, it was guilt and shame. And it still is on some degree, but not at all like it used to be. I'm learning not to be so harsh on myself, just as, I don't know if it was probably a combination of several people that told me, between my therapist when I was still going to therapy and friends, people in the rooms. But I was told when I did something that I knew I should have done differently, or I knew better than doing something maybe I said that was out of character, was not nice to say to someone, to treat myself the same way I would treat someone else. And where I've always been a very compassionate person, I mean, unless I knew that they were really just trying out to get me, blatantly trying to hurt me, taking joy in the fact that they were mocking or trying to slander or hurt me physically, then maybe not so much, but even still trying to understand where they were coming from. I always tried to be a compassionate person. And it's not that big of a deal. It's going to be okay. Okay, so you forgot this. It's going to be all right. We'll figure it out. You know, just really being laid back and not using that as ammunition to really make someone feel bad. Really trying to lighten the load so that they didn't feel like they had to beat themselves up, because I know how I treated myself, and I would try to reflect that to other people. So when whoever it was, probably a culmination of different people, it finally clicked in me that I did not have to treat myself the way that I had been, and that I would not treat anyone on the planet the way that I talk to myself. So now, instead of the guilt and shame, I still have a degree of that, because I want to be close to God and I don't want to hurt people. But now, instead of having that same condescending, oh, you really did it this time attitude towards myself, I have a lot more love and compassion. And that just overflows into my relationships, where I'm not raising my voice or flying off the handle over, you left the stove on. You know, that's just, I just looked at the stove. We just got through eating. So, but there's just so many different little things in life that I have overreacted to. And instead of taking that shame, guilt, and attitude towards myself, I don't take that attitude on other people. So my reflexive reaction is to just be gentle, understanding, and compassionate. And there might be times that I slip up on that, but it's very few and far between. So, final answer.
Very good. Yes. Very good.
Do you concur?
These are your answers. I am taking mental notes of beauty.
Okay. Thinking of a time when I've been truly honest with God, what did it look like? Usually crying involved. A form of regret if it's something that I'm being honest with about, that I've done that I wished I hadn't done, or joy when I've done something that I feel good about having done. I mean, I know that it's probably more geared towards the negative aspects of what we've done in life, but just being able to be truly honest. God sees it all anyway, so trying to hide it from Him really makes no sense to me. it's really hard in those moments when I've made mistakes. Like, I knew it was wrong before I did it anyway, gave into the flesh at some point, and that overwhelming regret. I remember the first time I read Job, the book of Job, and how he covered himself with ash. And there was a point in my life where I had made some horrible decisions and just gut-wrenching agony, crying out to God, please forgive me. I do not want to be separated from you. And I could feel the separation in my spirit. Knowing that he still loved me because he made me, but really feeling like he didn't love me anymore because I thought I'd messed up too much. It took a while for me to come out of that phase in my life, and just crying, just broken, depressed, and my heart was bleeding in the spiritual sense. It took a really long time. I didn't have people to go to even really talk about the things, so I was just going to God. And when it's a one-sided conversation, it takes a while to get it out where it's really lifted off the shoulders. But at some point, God restored a part of me enough to know that it was going to be okay, and that he wasn't going to be mad at me forever, and that he really longed to be close to me. So there is a way out of it. It might seem, if you're going through something like that now, I have been there, and it is really hard, and it sucks. I'll just say it. But I do know, because I have been there, that you can come out of it, that God will see you through it, and that you don't have to give up. Because even though I didn't have anyone there for me at times when I was in that space, he helped me through it. He will gently hold you. If you have to fall apart and cry, do it. He will hold you while you do. And you will come out the other side, and you will be able to look back, and then you can be there for someone that's maybe going through something similar that you've been through. So you're not alone. There's other people who've been there, and we're here. So that leads to the questions for you guys. That was my final answer.
Okay.
What is your reflexive reaction when you might be to blame for something? And think of a time when you've been truly honest with God, and what did it look like for you? I would love to read your comments and see what your feedback is. You got anything else?
Before the prayer, yeah. That's great. It is amazing to me that, as she so eloquently described, she would be kind to others, forgive others, but it was herself that she would beat up. That God had me training several years before meeting, no, actually a good amount of years, let's say 5 to 6, before meeting. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to that was a consistent inner dialogue for him to have somebody who loudest dialogue was beating herself up, or hearing others' voices that had contaminated the mind and heart for years. To meet up with a guy who's been practicing, training, hitting the speed bag, jumping the rope, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, to implement that. I get blessed to lead by that loving example. And when we first get together, and then we got our own place, something small would happen, but my loving wife was so used to walking on eggshells, being so conditioned to other relationships, and what'd you do? Or yelled at or in their face. And I'm just like, it was nothing. But the sad truth is the eggshell mentality was there. And then you said something earlier at the location we were, sticking all your eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, shut up. So, in a beautiful way, not shut up. Don't take it out of context. From walking on eggshells to sticking your eggs in one basket. Well, if they leave, if they don't, if what's and buts things. No. What we have done separately and then together is I give a little parable of a whole football field full of eggshells. And by herself and then by myself, we picked up our eggshells. And then once we came together, the old mental eggshells were there. But then slowly, no, you're not like that. You're not like that. Taking those eggshells and everything in the basket. No, he doesn't think like that. I can put all my eggs in this basket because we are all in. Because she saw my heart, I saw hers. Mm-hmm. And so the beautifulness of, for me, is that the one person that needed the, don't beat yourself up. No, so what? It's nothing. It's really nothing. Joins up with light and fluffy. And that's awesome. And that happened. Mm-hmm. Now we picked up a ton of eggshells in like 8 football fields together. And there's still a couple out there. But they're painted so we can see them. And we're working towards getting any eggshell that may come up that might have happened in our childhood. She didn't do it to me, but yet that still sort of irritates. Mm-hmm. Sweetheart, we're going to go pick up that eggshell. I see it. It's like glowing green. Sort of looks toxic. Can you help me out with that?
You know I will.
You know you will. 2 are better than 1.
Yes.
So that's just awesome that, brings us together in such a beautiful thunder and lightning aspect of either picking them up, putting them in the basket, burning the basket, or just sending the lightning down and just in there grating the eggshells. Mm. And really, we don't have to stick our eggs in the basket because we stick our mind, heart, and soul into God's spirit, or he puts that in us. So there's really no basket. There was really no eggs. We'll keep walking that away. Boom. Cool. Thanks for letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.
Mm.
The prayer for today is, loving God, we want to be honest with you about, and it has a blank for us to fill in the things we want to be honest with God about. It's an open invitation to start a prayer about the things maybe that we're not being honest with God about, or things that we are having trouble talking to God about with. So, loving God, we want to be honest with you about. Fill in your blank.
In Jesus' name, amen.
In Jesus' name, amen.